All right, let's wrap up with this cow catcher, which we're going to have to use what's called a loft tool, which is a little bit different than what we've used before. All right, I'm going to use a home plate like you see in softball and baseball as my description for the shape that we're going to be drawing here for this cow catcher. All right, so the first step in creating this is to activate your assembly, which I already did. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to start a new component. We're going to call it cow catcher. We are going to go ahead and we're going to create a new sketch. We're going to do it off to the side like we've been doing. And our first step is to draw a home plate. So if you don't know what a home plate looks like, then you haven't played enough baseball. Kind of looks like an isosceles triangle. Kind of like this, but this needs to be square. I'm going to show you real quick. This constraints menu is very helpful because you can use things like perpendicular. I just clicked on perpendicular, and I can add by clicking on these two edges. That little perpendicular symbol should show up to show that these corners are square, just like this. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to look at my drawing. And I want to add all these dimensions. So I'm going to start with this back edge, which should be 1.2. It's okay if some of it goes out of whack a little bit as I'm drawing it. I can just slide these as I add dimensions. This should be 0.25, and this should be 0.25. And then from the back edge to here should be 0.9. Oops, I didn't type in 0.9. 0.9. There we go. So failed to resolve. That's because when I was drawing this, do you see how it accidentally added this perpendicular? So this is a 90-degree corner. So that's why it's not allowing me to add this dimension, because it can't solve. So if that's a situation that you run into by drawing lines and accidentally adding constraints, your best bet is to draw a box around these lines and press the delete key and redraw those lines without accidentally adding constraints. Happens all the time. It's okay. Now I can add my 0.9, and then the distance from the left to right of the center of the point of the vertex is 0.6. So now we have the home plate all defined. The only thing that's left is that it's still blue. The reason why it's still blue is because I can move this home plate anywhere in space, so I should lock it. So if you go to your constraints menu, you can pick fix, that little lock symbol, and then just touch one of the corners, like right there. And now, if you try to grab it, it won't move anywhere. All right, so there's my first home plate. When I say first, it's because you'll notice there's a home plate on top, and then there's a home plate on bottom, directly over it. But it's a little bit bigger, so that's going to be really important as we move on now to the second step. So go ahead and finish your sketch. I'm going to tilt my world, go to my house view. So in looking at the drawing, you're going to notice that the second home plate is 0.75 inches away, equally spaced away. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to our construct window, and we're going to go to offset plane. Offset plane, if you click it, I'm going to be able to left click and hold. Actually, you don't even have to hold, just left click, sorry. And then you're going to be able to left click and hold and drag this arrow towards you, and then type in this box 0.75 inches. And then click OK. So what that does is it creates a invisible surface that we can now create a sketch plane on. So create sketch and touch the orange surface. So now what we're going to do is we're going to draw another home plate that's centered over this one. To do that, first create and project this back edge. By doing that, what we're going to be able to do is snap onto the back midpoint of this home plate If you look at the drawing, it's because we want to make sure when we draw this other one that it's perfectly locked to the center in the middle of that first one that we drew. So let's go ahead and let's do that. We're going to take a line and we are going to snap it to the mid. Make sure that little triangle appears. Click, drag to the right. Click line again. Click at the mid, drag to the left. All right. Once you've got those two lines drawn, you can see I'm highlighting them. Then we can start to draw the rest of the home plate. Looks a little weird, but once I add my dimensions. So the back edge, you'll notice I'm only going to draw half. And if I look at my drawing, it's 1.8, so half of 1.8 is 0.9. So I'm going to type in 0.9 right there. And then for this line, 0.9. And then this edge, according to my drawing, is again 0.25. This one's 0.25. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. And then the point to the back edge is 1. And then I believe the centering is exactly the same. So this from here to here is 0.6. Nope, my bad. 0.9. Yeah, 0.9. Okay, so now I think everything looks good. It's all black. So now we're going to finish our sketch. And now we have the profile, and I'll tilt it to show you. We have the two home plates that are stacked on top of each other and perfectly centered over the back of it. Okay, so now you're going to go up to Create. You're going to do a loft. You're going to pick both sketches one at a time, and you'll see that they blend together. That's what loft is. It's a blending tool for two different sketch shapes. There you go. Before you flip it back upside down, what we're going to do is we're going to shell it out. We're going to make it hollow. If you look at this top right drawing, you're going to notice that it's hollow. And it says, let's see, typical right here, 0.1, which means it's a shell distance. So I think it's under modify. Yep. So click shell. First thing you want to do is you want to touch the back face to remove it. And then you're going to type in 0.1 for the distance of the thickness of the shell, and then click OK. There you go. Now the whole thing has been shelled out or made hollow, and the face that you clicked was the face that you wanted to remove. Flip it around so that you see these two front faces. Now we're going to make the little groove in that front face. You can see it here in the top left drawing. So we're going to create a sketch. Right here. So I am trying to create a sketch on this face, and it's not letting me, and that's because it's curved. As I kind of jump into my sketches, I'm realizing, and I'm going into sketch number 1 down here in my history, I'm realizing that I have a 0.9 where if I look at my drawing, it should have been 0.75. So I'm going to go back into my history, which is the first sketch down here, and I'm going to double click on this 0.9 right here, and I'm going to change it to 0.75, which sure enough changes my sketch. And if I finish that, it will update my my loft. And now when I create a sketch, look at that, works perfect. There we go. All right, rock and roll. Let's get back to business. Now I'm going to click on modify, offset, and if I hover over the perimeter of this face and click on this little like arrowy thing and drag in, it's going to replicate this blue line that I created. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to, if you look at this drawing here, it says 0.1 typical. So I'm going to type in negative 0.1 and it just created an edge that's 0.1 away from the blue. So I'm going to press enter. So there we go. I just created that little offset edge. I'm going to finish my sketch, and I'm going to extrude, and I'm going to cut that in because I'm cutting it. The depth, hey, how you doing? The depth that I'm going to cut it is, you can see here in the top right drawing, negative 0.05. And then there's the little cut. Same thing on the other face. I'm going to pick it. I'm going to modify. I'm going to offset. I'm going to pick that line. I'm going to go in, negative 1. Oh, that's too far. Negative 0.1. Press enter. And then I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to extrude it, drag it in, negative 0.05. And then there we go. We've got those two concave grooves, whatever you want to call it. All right. Now on the back surface, last thing that we have to do here is create those little pins. So I'm going to pick that face, and I'm going to look at my drawing. I've got 3 pegs, each of which are approximately 1/8 inch in diameter coming out from the back. So I'm going to make a sketch, and I'm just going to draw 3 circles. 1, 2, 3. Each of these are a diameter of 1/8 of an inch. So I'll first start with the diameters, and then I'm going to place them, their locations that is. So we'll start with our left to right placements. Let's see if I have more drawings here. So the distance between these two looks like it's 1.250. The distance off the edge, trying to look for all these, a lot of dimensions here, guys. Distance from the left to the center of this middle one is 0.6250, and I'm looking for 0.275. So I usually kind of start with all my left to right dimensions, and then I do my top to bottom dimensions. So this one's 0.275. All right, now my up and down dimensions would be, looking for 6250 would be this one. And then from here to here, I'm looking at, these have to be correct or else it won't fit. 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. And then this one from here to here, 0.125. Remember, this is 2-dimensional, so every hole should have 2 dimensions. Left to right, up and bottom. Left to right, up and bottom. Left to right, up and bottom. And a diameter. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to extrude these up. How far? We're going to go up. Should show us somewhere. There's so many drawings, guys. Oh, right here. 1/8 of an inch, typical, it says. 0.125. There we go. And we're almost there. Almost done. Look. Last thing, 0.01 with a 45 chamfer. That's what that means. There's a chamfer. So we're going to go up to modify, chamfer. All right, let me pull this over. I'm going to grab and click on the ends of each of these 3 cylinders, and I'm going to type in the chamfer distance, which is 0.01. Look at that. It's like we're professionals here. I think that's it. Yeah, that is it. Let me close this drawing here, if I can. Okay. I'm going to hit save. Okay. Let me activate my assembly. Everything's back. Let's go ahead and try and assemble this. See what happens. How would I want to assemble this? Well, let's do a joint capture. Let's do a, I don't know, let's do a revolute. Let's pick this face down here to that face there. Okay, I like it. Now, before I hit accept, let's flip this 180 degrees. You got to just use some math. Like, think about where it is, and then your computer or iPad might be different. You just got to use rotation to place it. And then I'm going to hit OK. Now, the problem is it rotates. I don't want it to rotate, so I'm going to undo. What you can do after you've placed it using the Revolute, I think, let me see if this works. Let's open up our joints. Let's go to that last Revolute. Let's edit, joint, and let's flip it to a rigid. Yep, it worked. Haha, look at that. I am so awesome. Yeah, so just edit that joint and flip it to a rigid, and then now it doesn't move. Look at that. Chugga chugga choo choo. So, all right, hit save, and that's the end of this video. I'm gonna create a couple more for materials and some animations, and we'll have some fun with this. Thank you for watching. You guys rock.